So again, you are at Assistive Technology for Social Engagement and Life Skills. It is a part of Connections California, which is Parents Helping Parents, one of their newest programs. It's an online resource and information hub that serves a statewide community for families of adults and young adults with all disabilities. And we're glad that you were able to come and join us tonight. So I'm going to turn this over to our speaker, Debbie Drennan. Debbie is an MSW and an AT specialist for over 20 years, an assistive technology consultant. She believes that AT is a key component to a successful inclusion of all individuals, and she recently completed training to become an inclusion facilitator with Beginning Together. She became passionate about assistive technology and inclusion because of her children, one of whom has cerebral palsy and another who has ADHD. Both are now successful, independent adults. And also joining us this evening are Maura Albrighton and Joe Goyos from Exceptional Family Resource Center down in San Diego, one of our sister agencies, and they'll be helping with our Q&A this evening and available to answer any local San Diego questions you might have. And of course, if PHP loves to have any kind of donation from our viewers, big or small, it helps us to keep on doing what we do. So if you can give, we very much appreciate it. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and set up our Spanish interpreter while Debbie takes over. Thanks, Debbie.
Sure, no problem. I just want to make sure the Spanish interpreter is all set.
Yes.
Before I get started, because I have to choose my language as well.
Yes. Well, tell a joke, Debbie.
Okay, I need to have you enable screen sharing for me as well. That would be helpful.
Well, then what were we doing during Tech Check is what I want to know.
We were talking, as we do.
All right, hold on. Beatrice
That's fine. No worries. One thing at a time. It's fine. Anyway, as they were saying, my name is Debbie Drennan. I am an assistive technology specialist, and I am choosing English as my primary language. And please choose the language you wish to be in.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome. It is now available for you to do so. And I am able to share my screen. Yay! Here we go. Terrific. And let me get to the right place here. You don't need to see that. You need to see this. There we go. Much better. Yeah. All right. Here we are. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Fantastic. So I'm going to be talking to you today about assistive technology for social engagement and for life skills. As they were mentioning, I have been doing this for a while. I came in as an assistive technology specialist due to my children. One has cerebral palsy and one has ADHD. And they are both now successful, independent, employed adults with the appropriate supports and services, of course. I am also in private practice. I am a vendor with the San Andreas Regional Center for assistive technology evaluation and training for those who may be in the Bay Area of California. I am a vendor for the regional center if you do need my services for your client or your child. So that is me. So today I'm going to be talking to you, first of all, what is assistive technology? Sort of an introduction to it really quick. And then I'm going to be talking about some different tools that are available for social engagement, because that's so important. And also some different tools for independent living support. At the very end, I will take questions after we've gone through the entire presentation. So please do type your questions into the Q&A. And at the very end, I will make sure to address them. Okay, so let's just kind of hang on to those questions, type them in, and we'll get them taken care of. So let's talk about what is assistive technology. It is a federal defined thing. There is an Assistive Technology Act of 2004, which is a federal law, and it defines assistive technology devices as any item, any piece of equipment or product, whether you buy it, whether you make it, whether you customize it, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. And if you want to see where the citation is, I always provide web links for your own research. So what's available in California? Why is there this federal law? Talk to me about that. The federal law is so that there can have something called Assistive Technology Act of 2004, which defines that each state has an organization that is assigned to providing information and services around assistive technology for individuals with disabilities in that state. Each state runs it differently depending on the needs of the state. Here in California, the agency that runs it is called abilitytools.org, Ability Tools. And it's a fantastic organization, and they do a lot of work within the space of assistive technology. They have a fabulous YouTube channel under CFILC, and they just did a whole series on smart homes, video series on smart homes and how to use smart homes and what does that look like. And they do a lot of really good work in the space. They also have a terrific reuse and loan program of assistive technology tools, ranging from wheelchair ramps, the portable ones, to actual wheelchairs, to switches, to communication tools, just the whole range of tools they have available for loan and also as part of the reuse program. So if you haven't looked at their website, take a look and see what they've got going. Also in California, through the regional center, the Lanterman Act. The Lanterman Act defines assistive technology as adaptive equipment and supplies in 3 different areas of the Lanterman Act. In their institution to home area, it is defined, adaptive equipment and supplies is noted as a tool they can use to help somebody who's in an institution get to a home setting. It is also defined in at-home services that can be done in their home. And it is also defined in supported living services. So these are the 3 different areas adaptive equipment and supplies are mentioned within the Lanterman Act, which oversees the regional centers here in California for adults with developmental disabilities. Remember, the regional center is a funder of last resort. And I'm saying that because it can get confusing at times when you're working with a regional center on some of these different tools. They may ask you to get denials from your medical insurance, for example, before they consider funding it. So just know the regional center is a funder of these tools, but as a last resort. So what are some of the other funders that you could go to for some different tools? If it is something considered durable medical equipment, like a wheelchair, like a communication device, a dedicated communication device, you can see if your durable medical equipment, under your medical insurance, will cover that device with a doctor's order and an evaluation by the appropriate medical person. If you need a tool or a device in order to gain meaningful employment, you can go to Department of Rehab, and they can help provide that device for you in order to gain meaningful employment. If you're already employed, your employer needs to provide it if it is needed to work. The other program we have here in California is called California Connect, and they provide specialized communication equipment under long-term loans for an individual. You may have remembered it as the Deaf and Disabled Telecommunications Program. They've repackaged it. And that is actually a very broad bunch of equipment. They do not look at your income. They do not look at medical insurance. They just say, hey, are you a qualified person with a disability here in California? If so, and you need a specialized equipment to communicate on the phone, then you can look through what we have and apply, and we can provide that for you under a long-term loan. And basically the long-term loan is as long as you live in California. Once you move out of state, they ask that you return that equipment. Okay, and there's always various grants opportunities as well for you. So I encourage you to take a peek at what's available within California. But when we're talking about assistive technology, a lot of people immediately go to high tech, right? They think computers, they think laptops, they think iPads, they think, dedicated complex devices. But it is a continuum. It goes from the no tech and the low tech all the way up to the high tech. So the no and the low tech, it can be very simple. It can be something as simple as, I don't know if you can see, this is a lanyard communicator that I've created for an individual that I'm going to be giving to them soon. Is an adult who needs a way to communicate out in the community, and he's not safe using an iPad or a high-tech device in the community. because he tends to drop things. So I created something as simple as a lanyard communicator. That is assistive technology. So it can be as simple as that. It could be something mid-tech, maybe that needs a little bit of training. Maybe it's a switch. Maybe it's a pen scanner, like a C-pen scanner. You use it to read. It reads text out loud for you. And it does also include the high tech as well. So there's this huge range of technology that fits in the assistive technology realm. And I think people tend to forget about the no and the low tech, and they immediately think high tech, when indeed some of these lower tech items can be just the thing that they're looking for, right, to make them be successful. So essentially the key takeaway in all of this is that assistive technology can be free, it can be inexpensive and easy to use, and you may have it be covered. It may be covered under one of the programs I've already talked to you about. So, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's actually can be pretty easy to use. So let's move now into social engagement. What is social engagement? What does that mean? I think we all kind of came out of the pandemic realizing how important social engagement is. And how hard it is when it's missing, right? So we now all know for sure that social engagement is critical to the well-being of everybody, that it really gives you that sense of belonging, and it promotes that social connectedness, that you are a member of the community. And it really does enhance your physical and your emotional well-being, knowing that you are connected within your community. And it supports personal growth and independence. I think we've all seen the effects of lack of social engagement from the pandemic created, and we're still trying to catch up with that. So social engagement is critical for all individuals. And part of social engagement is inclusion, right? You have to feel included. You have to feel like you belong. You have to be in with a group of people you enjoy as an adult. So that could be in recreation opportunities, out swimming at the local pool at the Y, maybe is your recreation, but you're doing that with a group of people. Maybe employment, maybe you're fully employed, you have competitive integrated employment. That can also provide a lot of social opportunities for you, a sense of belonging, right? Continuing education, going on to college, going into a junior college, maybe going into a trade school. That is also inclusion, right? And provides that social engagement. Even day programs, they're out in the community now. It's a mandate that they have community opportunities. So they're out in the community and being fully included so that people can feel that sense of social engagement, of belonging. And that's so critical. And that's where there's some technology tools that can assist with this. So what is technology for social engagement? Well, I'm going to start with the internet stuff, right? I'm going to start with email and social networking sites like TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, video calling and texting. We saw a plethora of that. There's a huge range now that just kind of exploded with the pandemic, and it has continued. So let's not keep our adults away from these opportunities to engage and be connected safely, though. There's the key, right? I know some of you probably, I said internet and you went, no way, no how, never, right? Because they're going to get taken advantage of. But there are some great tips to create a safe internet space. The first thing I'd recommend is, if the adult gives their permission, have them share their email account to your device so you can monitor it as needed, right? And a lot of it is teaching them how to be internet safe. One of the key things is, what is your handle? What is your fake internet name, right? Never share, teaching them never to share their real name on the apps, and never sync your address book with the apps. So that way it stays within the trusted group of people, and that they know that they are safe, right? And also something you can have them do is make sure they disable their location features. No one needs to know where they live, right? Disable that. Facebook doesn't need to know. TikTok doesn't need to know. I don't have it engaged in any of my social media. My privacy is my privacy. No one knows where I live. Perfect. That's what I like, right? And also, when they're getting started, you've got to supervise them to keep them safe, right? And talk to them about how to use these tools safely and responsibly. And make sure that if someone they don't know, they don't recognize, is trying to connect with them, that they ask a trusted adult, that they ask somebody, hey, is this somebody I should connect with? I don't know this name. I mean, even on LinkedIn now, I'm starting to get spam LinkedIn people trying to connect with me. And it's like, no, I don't know you. I can take a quick look at your profile and realize you're just trying to spam me. So no, but you have to teach them how to do that. So how do you teach them how to do that? All right. What's the next question? There's a great, fantastic website called Be Internet Awesome. It's created by Google, completely free, and it goes through sort of 4 different, in a very gamified way, of how to be internet awesome games, like how to protect your privacy, how to stay safe from scammers. They have little games that you can play on this website, and it's really well done. And it really does train you or teach you what it takes to be internet safe. So I really recommend, if you're having your loved one go out on the internet, that you've made sure that they are internet safe, right? They know how to be internet awesome, right? But there's also a further controls you can do as a parent or as an agency, maybe within your group home, if you're a group home provider, is you can set up a control app, a parental control app for the users who use the Wi-Fi within that home. And that gives you the power to not let some apps through. They can't go onto some apps. They can't go onto some websites, just sort of a blanket no to everybody in that environment unless they have your code, right? So that's a way, something that you can do to really kind of protect and create a safe bubble around that Wi-Fi system. Now, when they're not in that Wi-Fi system, I can't guarantee that safe bubble. So if they're taking their phone out in public and get onto public Wi-Fi, the bubble is gone. But then you can check when they get back in your bubble, what have they downloaded? Is it appropriate? And should I take it off, or encourage them to take it off? The other thing to think about in terms of internet safety and in just remembering passwords, it's hard to remember passwords, right? And so many sites now have passwords that you need to use, and two-factor authentication and all this other stuff that can be just overwhelming. Many sites now are doing pass keys, which could be much easier for our users than a password. It could be facial recognition. It could be using a thumbprint. It could be a certain pattern that you create over the keys that only they remember, right? So pass keys versus passwords, it might be easier for them to remember a pass key than a password, or have facial recognition on their internet device for them to use. So some things to think about as you're setting them up. And don't forget your anti-spam and your anti-spyware on all devices. Make sure it's set. I have it on my phone. I have it on my iPad. I have it on my computer. And they're always running. And I only use freebies, and that seems to work well for me. But it does catch things. And that's what I really appreciate about it. And if you're really concerned about scams, because they are ubiquitous, there is a website I just found out about called Go Quincy, and they have a scam alert feature. And so what you do is you go to Go Quincy and you sign up for their service. I think it's $5 a month. And for $5 a month, anytime you are suspicious about an email and a text, whatever, you can contact them and share it with them and say, hey, is this a scam? And they'll let you know, yes or no. Is it a scam? So you have someone you can talk to about scams, which is huge. They still have to take the initiative to contact them, but it is a resource to prevent scams and prevent potential loss of money. So there's a great resource for you as well. And just in terms of internet safety. But now let's talk about what the internet can provide in terms of social groups, right? I mean, we know there's Facebook, and you can set up a small group of Facebook friends. We know there's TikTok, and you can spend hours just looking at other people's videos and creating your own videos on TikTok. But there's also a great one called eBuddies, and it's through the Best Buddies organization. And it's basically a Best Buddy, but it's remote, right? It's a remote Best Buddies. So it's a volunteer who has been trained and vetted by Best Buddies to just be a connection, right? To have that social engagement for an individual with a disability. The ARC is another great resource. They have some wonderful virtual programs and different virtual clubs. They have a list of about 20 different virtual clubs that you can take a look at and see, do any of these meet is the interests of this user? And maybe I can join that club virtually, right? So I can use my tool to join a club and meet other people, which is, again, social engagement. There's tons of special interest groups out there on Facebook. There's also a new app that's come out in the last month, so I don't know how good it is yet because it's new. It's called Hello, It's Me. And this is an app that is created for individuals with developmental cognitive disabilities. There is a subscription required to access all the services on it, but basically it provides a closed system for connection within this app. So it's a great way for individuals to meet each other within the Hello, It's Me app. So again, I haven't had a chance to really thoroughly vet it or get feedback on it because it is brand new, but it has a lot of promise. So I wanted to let you all know about it as well, in case you want to try it out. Now let's talk about video calling. It's everywhere, right? We all use it. There's FaceTime, there's WhatsApp, there's Google Nest Hub calls. But there's also one that I wanted to make sure I told you about called Amazon Alexa, and it has something called drop-in calls. And this is terrific. Once you set it up through your Amazon account and they've given permission and they're okay with it, you can set it up so that once a week at such and such time, I'm going to be dropping in video calling through their Amazon Echo Show. So they don't have to pick up the phone and dial it. They don't have to, try to find you. You're just going to drop in on a video through their Amazon Echo Show at a preset time and say hello. So they don't have to remember time. They don't have to remember anything. Just, oh, there you are. Hello, how are you? And I think that's a fantastic resource for some of our individuals so that they can stay connected, because it may be too difficult for them to make those video calls, but they can still certainly receive them. And this is a way for them to do that, for you to do that with them. So it's fantastic. And again, Google Nest, you can do video calling with Google Nest. And each of these are web links that I've given here that once you get the PDF, you will be able to go and explore more on how to use all of these different tools and features and how to make it work for your individual, depending on the platform you're using. And now when it comes to texting, that's everywhere. Everyone texts, right? But there are different fun ways of texting that might be really interesting. You can send an emoji with your voice by describing the emoji. Smiling emoji, and then up pops a smiling emoji and off it goes in the text, which is so much fun, right? You can use GIFs for text. And actually, my husband and I, one of my son's friends from Power Wheelchair Soccer, he can type, but it's very fatiguing for him. So we tend to communicate with him text-wise via GIF only. So he finds a silly GIF, we find a GIF, and we just go back and forth into text with GIFs. And it's just a lot of fun, and it provides that social connection that he's looking for, right? He knows we're responding, he knows we're there for him. And it's just fun for all of us. We enjoy doing the GIF texting with him. And if you have someone who's not a great reader or writer, of course, you can use your voice to text, and you can also have your texts read out loud. And these links provide the resources on the information on how to do it depending on the platform you're in. So the text can be read out loud. So they can use their voice to give a text, and then they can have the response read out loud to them. So they don't have to have good reading ability to use texting as a platform for connection. The other thing that a lot of people get nervous about is when you're talking about social connection, you're talking about them out in the community. And that can be a little scary, because especially for individuals who might elope or get lost, right? How do you know they're safe? How do you know where they are? We've all heard the horror stories. There's some great tools out there. There's a bunch of different medical alert systems that they can access. Bay Alarm and Guardian Medical tend to be the top ones at this point, where they would just wear a button and they would just push the button, say, help, find me, and they can be found and get the help they need wherever they are through the medical alert system. If it's somebody who has a smartwatch, the smartwatches, a lot of them have location ability within them, GPS. So you can use the smartwatch to get the help they need to them, depending on where they're at. There's also separate GPS tracking devices. I don't know if you've all heard about the air tags and the tiles, but a lot of people use these now and they stick them in their luggage when they travel, so they know where their luggage ends up in case it doesn't end up where they are, right? They can find their luggage. Well, you can do that with an individual too. You can stick an air tag or a tile, maybe have them, wear it around their neck, or have them put it on their keychain, or even in their shoe. And you can use that as a GPS locator should it become necessary. If somebody really needs a more dedicated GPS system, there is GPS Smart Sole, which is actually a sole that goes in the shoe. You have to charge it every 2 to 4 days, but it's a way of using GPS to locate them, and it's in the shoe, so it's very unobtrusive for that individual. And then Angel Sense Tracker is a little device that can be worn, and they have different ways of wearing it on your body. And then you sign up for the service, and that uses GPS as well to help locate. And it also has a voice thing. They can hit an SOS button on the Angel Sense device. They can push the SOS button, and they immediately can get a voice response, and they can talk to whomever that is the designated person if they're feeling like, I'm scared, something's wrong. You can use the Angel Sense Tracker to have them have that voice. And then if they do have a smartphone, there's the Life 360 app you can set up with that. They can set up a community within their Life 360. So it can be them, it could be a parent, it could be a caregiver, it could be a group home provider. They're all within the Life 360 GPS. They can all have the app. They've all joined that group, and then you can always find where they are in that app. So on the Life 360 app. So and that can be free or it can be paid depending on number of individuals and how amount of times you access it. So these are some different ways for GPS location within the community, which can be scary for some individuals, especially those who tendency to elope or get confused, maybe get off at the wrong bus stop, what have you. So these are just some different tools to be aware of out in the community. And that's all fine and well and good. But now you're talking about being in the community, you're talking about bus schedules, you're talking about getting to and from places, and you're talking about time management, right? How do we do this? A lot of individuals have difficulty with the concept of time and the difficulty with the concept of time management. They get wrapped up in what they're doing and they just lose track of time, right? So there's a lot of different tools that are available to help with time management, to get reminders, to get those things. And I'm going to go into those next. The first thing I recommend is everyone have access to a schedule. And you could start with visual schedules. I know that's something a lot of people used when they were younger, but there's no reason. In fact, there's an adult that I know who is autistic, and they still use and freely show their visual schedules that they use. Yes, they can read, but for them, a visual schedule gives a better representation of their day. They can move the pictures around as needed to fit their day, and it gives them that independence and that confidence they need within their day, so they can see visually what their day will be. So don't forget visual schedules. And I've been to many different group home places and places where they have adult day programs. And I see very few schedules. And that really is a disservice to the adults that live there and work there, because they should know what's, even if it's the same thing every day, to have that visual schedule is a reassurance. It's this is what we're doing today. This is what's happening. And then if there is a change in schedule, it will be noted visually, and they can see that change in schedule. It's like, oh, we're not going to the library today. Oh, we're going to go, here because the bus didn't, or the van broke down or whatever, but it gives them a chance to prepare for that change in schedule. So I really recommend visual schedules to be reincorporated for those who need them. And there's a lot of ways of doing it. You can do photo-based, you can do a symbol-based, you can do a tech-based. The picture I have here is from an app called First Then Visual Schedule HD. And there's a lot of different ways you can set up schedules with photos, with time attached to each task, And you can do it for a whole day or for a task, depending on what the need is for that individual. So it's completely customizable for the individual. And of course, you can just do straight up pictures and icons if that works too. And for those who benefit and can read, you can do shared calendars and reminders, right? When my son, who has ADHD, was coming up through high school, that's how I taught him how to use a calendar, is I had him share his calendar with me so I could help him learn how to use that calendar. I had to explicitly teach it. A lot of people don't get that explicit teaching on calendars, but it can be so helpful to explicitly teach someone, how do you enter things into a calendar? What do I know? How do I know what to put on my calendar? How do I make this event that happens every day, for a week, go every day for a week, as opposed to just the first day? So spend a little time explicitly teaching how to use a calendar if you can. It can be really, really helpful, and they can be shared. Google Reminders, which is now called Tasks with the latest update of Google. Thank you, Google. Those can't be shared unless it's on an eligible school or work account. So personal Google Reminders cannot be shared, but Google Keep can be shared. And the beautiful thing about Google Keep, and I love Google Keep, I use it all the time, is Google Keep can be used on any platform. It can be used on an Android, it can be used on an iOS, an Apple phone, whatever they have. It can be used on an iPad. And if they're taking that iPad or that phone to a store, you can be reminded at a location, and the list will pop up. Like if they're going grocery shopping and they've created a grocery list, once they get to the store, that grocery list will pop up for them. So it can be reminded at a time, or they can be reminded at a location, which can be very, very helpful. Like if someone's at work and they need to remember to bring home certain things to home, they can be reminded as they're leaving work to remember to bring those things. So fabulous, fabulous tool. I really like Google Keep for a lot of reminding, and it can be shared. So you can help them learn how to use Google Keep. Okay. Timers. Speaking of time, a lot of individuals do not understand the concept of time. So even though you tell them 5 minutes, they still don't have an idea of what that 5 minutes is, what it feels like, what that means, right? They just benefit better from a visual timer. And it could be something like time timer. They have devices that are dedicated devices and watches that are dedicated, where the red goes away. And when the red is all gone, time is up. But they also have a free app that you can download for Apple and Google devices that does the same thing. So you don't have to buy a dedicated device unless you need that. You can also do sand timers, which are terrific. And there's a lot of different timers that just have different colors that go away as time goes by. So a lot that really helps for those individuals who don't have the concept of time. When you say 20 minutes, they like, what is 20 minutes? I don't understand. But when they see the red and they see the amount of time left and they see it going away, it gives them that sense of time, and that gives them a sense, okay, this is how much longer I have at this task before I move to the next task. So that can be really, really helpful for adults who don't have that concept of time. And then, of course, smart home systems. And I could spend another 2 hours talking about different smart home systems. But smart home systems are a fantastic way to set up reminders, calendars verbally for individuals who need them. And it can provide reminders and calendars to people at a certain time of day, so that in the morning they get a reminder, at night they get another reminder. It can be set up for so many different things through different routines using your voice. These are fantastic for time management, as well as 1,000 other things, right? And there's lots of different kinds of smart home systems. The two biggies are the Amazon ones, which are the Echoes, and the Google's series, which is the Google Nest series. So it really depends on what you want to do in the home. This is sort of a comparison of the two, the Echo Show and the Google Nest Hub, which is better. It really depends on what you want it to do than anything else. And what can they do? Here in my home, I have several different routines set up using smart home integration tools with our Amazon Echo. One of them is, I say, Alexa, it's dark, and the living room lights go on, right? And I did that with, I put a thing between the plug of the lamp and the electric in the wall. And I've set that to Amazon so that it knows when I say that, it turns that on and off for me. So that's just one routine. There's other routines you can do, right? Of course, you can do video calling with both the Google and the Amazon and the Apple products. You can do the reminders and calendars. You can have it so it's voice. So, hey, Google, what am I doing today? And it'll give you your calendar. It'll give you you can say, hey, Google, remind me at 6 o'clock to do this. And it'll confirm that reminder. And then at 6 o'clock, it'll give you that reminder. So there's a lot you can do with these smart home devices and smartphones as well. And there's no reason why our individuals shouldn't be using them as well, because you can also have music. You have the voice assistant. It's also good for safety. A lot of people forget about this, but there are a lot of integrations within the smart home systems for motion sensors and fall detection. So there's a lot of different things these smart home tools can do, and they continue to grow. So, and there is a way on all of the smart home for those who are like, well, somebody's listening to them all the time. There's a way of muting things. You can turn off the mic. You can turn off the video, push a button and it goes off. And then you can push it again in the morning to have it go on again, if that's what you want to do. So there's a lot of ways of creating your own privacy within these systems as well. So these are great tools for reminders and time management as well. Okay, and I'm not going to show this video, but this is kind of a tongue-in-cheek video about which one is for me. And it goes through, it's actually really well done, but it goes through the different features of each in a very, very fun way to watch. It's about a 10-minute video. And I really recommend you guys take a moment after this and take a look at this, because it's really well done. Basically, it's saying it's whatever features you need will determine the system you need. They're all good. Okay, so I'm going to skip that in the interest of time, because I want to make sure I get to your questions. So now we're going to look at different tools for independent living, and we're going to focus in on cooking now. We've talked about time management. Now I'm going to talk about cooking. And there's a lot of different tools out there to promote cooking for the individuals who might need that support. So I'm going to go through those next. The first thing that I really like are visual recipes. And these are some fantastic websites you can go to take a look at them. One is abletolearn.com, and they have a whole bunch of visual recipes that you can go and take a peek at. And they're all free to download and take a look at. They're all just PDFs. So you can take one, find what they're going to look for, and it gives you step by step what you're doing, what you need, how to do it. And visually you can see the steps in front of you. And so you can set that up as a visual schedule, turn the card over once they've completed the task, teaching them that independence so they can start learning how to cook and have that. Attainment Company also makes some books, Look and Cook Microwave, which again uses the microwave to create foods in a visual representation, visual steps. And accessiblechef.com is another great website where you have step-by-step recipes created for you in visually step-by-step. And the nice thing about Accessible Chef is they also have a recipe creator. So if they have a favorite recipe that you're pretty sure they could learn, you can create a visual recipe for them using the recipe creator. And then they have access to a visual recipe that you've created for them of their favorite foods. And then you can post it publicly or keep it private, depending on what you want to do. So these are some great ways of creating those visual step-by-step recipes, which can be terrific help. The other thing that can be really helpful is different kitchen utensils. Everything on this page you can get on Amazon. And the first thing I really like are the color-coded measuring cups and spoons. And pairing a color-coded measuring cup and spoon with a visual recipe. So let's say the quarter cup is red. You would just put a red dot by where it says quarter cup of butter, and they would know to go get the red cup. It takes that having to understand the quarter cup symbol away. They just have to be able to match the color. So color-coded measuring cups and spoons, also great for those who have old eyes like mine and have difficulty seeing those little 1/4, 1/2, 1/3 numbers, right? So these are really great tools. The other thing you can think about is universal cups. If somebody doesn't have a good grasp and they need to whisk for a while, a universal cup will help them hold that whisk in their hand so they can stir, so they can without losing the utensil. So those can be really useful, even if they have decent grip, but weak grip, right? It's weak, it can't do it for very long. Maybe you want to consider a universal cup just to give them that extra support while they're holding something so it doesn't get away from them. And lettuce knives. This seems counterintuitive, but lettuce knives cut more than lettuce. They can cut almost anything except meat. So breads, fruits, vegetables, you can give them a lettuce knife so you don't have to worry about them hurting themselves because it's plastic. You can't really cut yourself and hurt yourself using a lettuce knife, but it is a very useful knife to have in the kitchen for cutting other things other than meat. Meat's about the only thing it really doesn't cut well, unless it's like a shredded chicken, then it can do that. And then the other thing I really like are spatula tongs. Basically, these are tongs with little spatulas at the end to give you that grasp that you need when you're cooking to be able to flip and turn things easier than just a regular spatula. So spatula tongs, really nice tool as well. Again, all of this is available on Amazon for you if you're interested in exploring these tools further. And then the other thing that people get nervous about is, what if they leave the stove on? What if they leave, and then it's a burning hazard, right? They don't want to burn the house down. Well, you've got some different tools available to you. There's the burner alert stove reminder, which works on gas stoves. And you can put it on the handle and it lets you know after a certain amount of time, the disc, that it's on. So it goes beep, beep, beep after a certain amount of time that you've preset in the app. Oh, and that says, oh, shoot, I left the gas on. I need to go turn that off. Really, really helpful. And also there's another one, the Smart Choice Stove Sentry. You stick that underneath a range or the hood. And then once it senses that there's too much heat going on for too long, it'll alarm before there's a fire. So you have a chance to turn that off. So these are some really good stove monitoring things that you can access if you're concerned about them leaving the burners on. Okay, for again, safety. And then the other thing to think about with recipes and cooking is videos, right? How many of us, I use videos to learn how to make a new recipe all the time. So and you can make personalized videos for your loved ones on favorite recipes. Lay out all the ingredients, make the video, talk about it step by step, what you're doing. But then how do I share that quickly and easily? You can create a QR code for that video for free. In the Google toolbar, if you're on your computer, you're going to see this little arrow, the box with the arrow, and you click on that once you've created your video in YouTube, right? And you can do a private YouTube channel. It doesn't have to be for the world to see unless you want it to be. And you click on that arrow, and that's where you can just create a QR code. And then you can have that QR code somewhere in their kitchen, maybe next to the ingredient or on the box of the ingredient. They would just take their phone, as we've all know how to do now, go to the camera, click on the picture where the website is, and they'll go straight to that video. And they can watch the video as they are learning, as they're creating, and stop it as the stop and go. In Safari, you can use a QR code generator extension, such as Safari QR code generator. It's a free extension you can add to your Safari to create those videos. And then when you think about using videos and video modeling, there's so many things you can do videos for. You can do work videos, like how to use a printer, how to use your coffee pot, how to sort and file. Whatever their jobs are at work, you can create work videos with the QR codes next to the different areas in work for them. You can do the same thing for cleaning videos, how to clean your laundry. Here's the laundry, here it is, watch a video. right? And you can put that QR code by the laundromat, right? You can also use a QR code, have it linked to a document that has their emergency contact information and their medical information. And you can embed that QR code onto their clothing, into their shoe, in their wallet, so that a first responder knows to look at that. So there's a lot you can do with QR codes beyond just visual recipes, but I digress. Video modeling is so important. Shopping lists. Now you're going to have them create this wonderful recipe. They love, let's say, brownies. So you're going to have them make brownies. Now you have to help them create a shopping list. And as they're learning the skill, you should help think about how can you create a shared shopping list. Again, if they are text-based, they can use Google Keep. You can also add photos into Google Keep as well, if that helps them buy the right tools, and share that Google Keep message as your grocery shopping list across, right? That's one way. There's another app called AnyList. It's mostly text-based, but it's a grocery shopping list. If you want to do pictures and text, there's one called Our Grocery Shopping List. You add your own photos in, but you can then share that list across, and it automatically, I really like this about this particular one, it automatically puts things into the area of where you might find them in the store. So if you're talking milk and eggs and yogurt, it'll put dairy and it'll group them together for you. If you have bananas and onions, they'll say fruits and vegetables, and it'll group them together for you. So it makes it easier to find within the shopping store as well, the grocery store as well. And you can add your own photos. So it is what they like, right? It is what you know they're looking for onto the grocery shopping list, and share it. You can absolutely share it across. Another one that is similar is called Bring. It's also a shopping list, and it has recipes attached as well. So those are some different ideas for shopping that can help. And there's a whole lot more out there. There's money. There's money. How do you learn money? Because now that they're out shopping, they have to understand money, and they don't understand money. Sadly, I was only given an hour. But there is a lot of tools out there for learning money and how to spend money and how to count change back. Attainment has a great attainmentcompany.inc. Attainment Company Inc. has a lot of great resources for money, learning money, and teaching money, and having money. So that's a resource for you as well for teaching money. All right. And here's my contact information. If you wanted to get more information about any of this or anything that I've talked about,